When I died, Jesus appeared, and he wasn't black, he wasn't white. His skin changed colors right before my eyes. Have you ever asked yourself, if a soul had a skin color, what color would yours be? My name is Aaliyah Cooper. I'm a 42-year-old black community nurse. I've cared for hundreds of people, but I never knew how to heal myself. I used to smile at white patients, even when they pulled their hands away from mine. I've heard whispers in the elevator like, "She looks clean enough," and I smiled like I was used to it. I was used to living on the edge of spaces filled with light, used to the silence, used to saying, "It's okay," when it never really was. I had faith. I believed in Jesus, but I didn't believe that the churches full of white faces truly wanted me sitting beside them. I didn't believe their sermons on love were wide enough to hold the color of my skin. I didn't hate anyone, but I hurt. I heard from things no one dared to name, and so I stayed quiet. I went to work every day, caring for people with hands trained to touch wounds, but those hands never touched the truth inside my own heart. I was good at hiding. I was polite. I was professional. I was kind, but I wasn't real anymore. Until the day I died. You may not believe what I saw in those seconds without breath, but it was real enough to change everything. Real enough that I could never come back and be the same. I could never look at skin color the same way again. I could never see black and white as opposites anymore. Because Jesus showed me something no one had ever told me before. Skin color is not the enemy. Silence is. And what I saw after I left my body will make you question yourself, question this world, and maybe even question your faith. You think the accident killed me? No. What truly killed me was what I had buried inside for too long. And the moment I left my body, every mask shattered. You will not believe what was waiting for me on the other side of life. Death didn't come like in the movies. There was no screaming, no crowd gathering, no sad music playing under a gray sky. It came like someone unplugging a phone mid-call. That morning, I was rushing to the community health center like I always did. My coffee was cold, my heart was racing from lack of sleep. My mind scrolled through the day's patients. An elderly man with heart failure, a little girl with a viral fever, a young white woman who had just moved into the neighborhood. I had my smile ready. My gloves are on. I wasn't ready for a truck to lose its brakes at the corner. I didn't hear the crash. I didn't feel any pain. I just remember stepping off the curb, thinking about the mask I'd left on my desk, and then everything became white light. I could no longer feel my body. No weight. No breath. I saw myself lying there, one shoe flung across the sidewalk, coffee spilled across the brick. Everything moved in slow motion. I wasn't panicked. I was just stunned, like my soul had finally slipped free from a suit that never quite fit. I hovered above, watching people rush in, calling 911, pressing their hands on my chest. A coworker screamed and cried. She held my hand. My hand was cold. But I didn't feel cold. I felt still, a deep, thick stillness that made every thought in me fall silent. Then came the light, not from the sky, not from ahead. It came from everywhere and from within me. A light that had no color but held every color. It didn't blind, it didn't beckon, it simply existed. I was being pulled in. I couldn't resist. I didn't think about Caleb or my patients or who would plan the funeral. I had only one thought: I'm going home. And that's when he appeared. He didn't walk up. He didn't arrive from anywhere. He had been there all along. I knew it was Jesus, even though no one said his name. There was no distinct face, but the gaze was unmistakable. A look that embraced every wound while stripping away every lie. He wasn't white. He wasn't black. He didn't look like any picture I'd ever seen in a children's Bible or at the black church I grew up in. His skin shifted, from black to white, from white to golden, from golden to bronze, as if he was reflecting every skin tone that ever walked this earth. I wanted to ask, But before I could speak, he spoke, without words. "Aaliyah, you carry more questions than you realize. And now it's time for you to see the truth through the eyes of your soul. Do you think I was taken to heaven? No, I was taken to a place where truth could no longer hide. And the very first thing I saw was the division we've been feeding, born from fear. I thought I would see heaven, but I didn't. I saw churches, not just one, but hundreds, thousands. White walls, high vaulted ceilings, heavy wooden doors. And I saw small churches too, with tin roofs, peeling paint, and old plastic chairs. I walked into a white church. People were dressed to perfection. Expensive perfume lingered in the air. The choir sang a hymn I used to sing as a child. But no one saw me. I wasn't a ghost. I was the truth they didn't want to face. I drifted past faces, clasping hands, smiling, praising a love that doesn't discriminate, while their hearts stayed locked to anyone who didn't look like them. Jesus looked at me, not with blame, not with anger. He simply asked, "Does the love they sing about stretch beyond their pews?" I wanted to say, "They don't mean to," but the words caught in my chest. Because I had once been the only black woman in a white congregation, I had smiled to fit in. I had stayed silent not to make anyone uncomfortable, and I knew that silence had slowly killed something inside me. The scene changed. I saw a black church, loud, alive, vibrant like a celebration. People were dancing, calling on Jesus, naming him with fire and tears. But when a white couple walked in, the warmth in the room dimmed for a split second. They were welcomed, but not embraced. Jesus looked at me again. He said, "Pain makes people build fences and call them safe places." I saw it. Both sides were hurting. Both sides were afraid. White folks are afraid of being called racist, afraid of saying the wrong thing, afraid of being accused. Black folks are afraid of being dismissed, of being hurt again, of losing a voice already faint. I saw churches of every kind, brown, yellow, each one proclaiming the love of God, yet unknowingly building invisible walls out of fear. Jesus stood still, unchanged in his appearance. He said, "I don't stand on one side. I stand with the truth. And the truth is, you are not your skin color. You are a soul, and a soul has no color." I wanted to cry, but souls don't have tear ducts, only the ache of being broken and reborn in the same moment. I remembered the times I made others feel left out, the times I kept my distance because of past wounds. And I understood that division doesn't need orders. It only needs our silence, our fear, and love that doesn't go deep enough. Jesus touched my shoulder. He didn't say, "Forgive them." He said, "Step toward the one you're afraid you won't understand." I thought that after death I'd find rest, but I didn't. I was awakened to see what I had chosen to ignore. And what came next was the moment he showed me how healing begins, not through compromise, but through the courage to love. You won't forget that. He didn't take me to heaven. He took me into a shadowed place. Not the darkness of evil, but the kind of darkness made of truths no one dares to speak. I saw lost souls, not chained, not tortured, but trapped in the prisons of their righteousness. I saw a white woman on her knees, praying, weeping, saying she wasn't racist, that she loved everyone. But she never dared to speak to her black coworkers. She never sat beside them at lunch. She never asked a question out of fear of saying the wrong thing. She was imprisoned by the need to explain herself, and her silence was as cold as a cell. I saw a black man full of rage. He shouted, "I don't need pity from white people." His eyes carried the weight of forgotten history, suppressed pain, and daily dismissal. But in his heart, I saw a child still waiting for someone to simply listen without judgment. Then I saw a biracial girl, teased by classmates for being not white enough to belong, not black enough to be accepted. She sat alone on the school steps, writing in her notebook, "Why didn't God make me more clear?" Jesus looked at each of them, not with judgment, not with sermons. He simply said, "Healing does not come from sameness. Healing comes from the courage to step toward difference without demanding it to look like you." He showed me the heart as a room. When we close the door to protect ourselves, we also shut out the light. And the light does not choose sides. It only shines where it is welcomed. I saw a church with no walls, no divided pews, no suspicious glances. The people there didn't agree on everything, but they chose to walk together, not because they were the same, but because they chose to love. He turned to me and asked, "If you only forgive when someone becomes like you, is that forgiveness or just a condition?" I couldn't answer, because I knew. I had only ever forgiven in my mind, never in my heart. I had said, "I'm not angry," just to appear noble. But deep down, I still waited for others to change first. Jesus said, "You don't need to change to love them. You need to love them so you can be free." I broke down when I heard those words, not from guilt, but because for the first time, I felt light, free from expectations, free from blame, free from the need to perform strength. Then I saw Caleb, my son, a child growing up in a world where people still teach him who to trust and who to fear based on skin color. And I knew I had to teach him something different. Jesus didn't call me to repaint the world. He called me to live honestly within it. And honesty begins with the courage to love someone who isn't like you. But how could I return to my body after that? How could I go back to being the old Aaliyah after seeing all I had seen? I do not know how I returned. There was no flash of light, no angelic chorus. Just one heartbeat, then another. I opened my eyes under hospital fluorescence, not the soul light I had left. I heard the ventilator hiss, hurried footsteps, and a doctor shouting that I had a pulse again. I could not cry, my throat was paper dry, and my body felt carved from stone. Yet inside me, a door that had been locked for years swung wide open. I heard my son Caleb whisper through my oxygen mask, "Mom, please don't leave again." I looked at him, not only with my eyes but with my soul, and I saw more than a child. I saw a bridge, a new generation, a hope untwisted by prejudice. I knew I had to teach him to live by light, not by wounded history or fear, but by the truth I had just witnessed. In the days that followed, I lay motionless, but I wrote, first with my eyes, then in my mind, phrases I had to share. Not for recognition or fame, but because the story was too alive to keep silent. I thought of patients I had cared for, the white woman with HIV who was afraid to tell her husband, the black boy beaten in class while no one defended him, the times I stayed silent to keep a job, to avoid saying the wrong thing, to spare someone discomfort. I realized I had lived too safely, too politely, and that careful politeness had strangled the courage to be real. I went back to the hospital, not to work shifts, but to visit former patients. I took their hands and said, "I died, and I learned that none of us is invisible." I sat with an elderly white woman who once seemed wary of me. She held my hand and wept, confessing that she had stayed silent when her daughter spoke cruelly about people of color, and now wanted to tell her daughter that silence had been wrong. I did not preach, I did not debate, I simply stayed present, the way Jesus had been, standing not on any side, but always on the side of love. Now I have to tell the whole journey, not because I am special, but because you are being called too. Your invitation may not come through an accident. It may arrive through pain, a dream, or a quiet moment waiting for you to open your eyes. Before Jesus allowed me to return, he asked me a single question. It came through his gaze, not his voice, and it shattered every layer of self-defense I had left. He asked, "If your love is reserved only for those who look like you, can you truly call it love?" I wanted to answer, but I couldn't. because my heart had no excuses left. Only silence remained. And in that silence, a rising light appeared, not to erase skin color, but to illuminate the soul. Jesus did not hand me some grand assignment. He did not tell me to become a preacher or start a movement. He simply said, live authentically, love honestly, and do not fear difference. A soul carries no color. A soul carries only two things, light or darkness. And you were born to carry light. I woke with a weight lifted, lighter than centuries of history and judgment, lighter than the expectation to be forever strong and correct. I no longer wanted to be right. I wanted to be real. Here is the truth. I once thought it was enough just to hate no one. But now I know love begins when you step toward the person you once avoided. I once thought forgiveness was a favor, yet forgiveness is liberation, not for the other person, but for yourself. I once thought faith was something to protect, but real faith throws open the door even when you are unsure you will be understood. I am no longer just a nurse. I am a storyteller, because some truths will burn a hole inside you if you keep them hidden. If you are still listening, if you have walked this whole journey with me, perhaps you are being called too, not by accident, but by a question you can no longer ignore. Which light does your soul belong to? And will you leave your comfort zone to love someone different from you without condition and fear? I died to see. Now I live to tell. The rest is up to you.